Hey, what's up, Danny?
Oh, I miss hearing your lovely voice.
Yeah, bring back the old days.
You sent me a text and said you were ready. It brought a tear to my eye.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's how. Because I was asking, I was thinking, like, how should I, respond to it? I just go back to the old school way and just say I'm ready.
Did have you been taking pictures and videos of the store?
Yeah, I
Good,
I
good.
do. I have the whole thing, the whole journey, and I tried to send it to you, but the file was too large.
I'll have my
So I got to
editor
figure.
reach out so we can get all of that, and just email me
Okay,
some still pictures to start. All right, so remind
gotcha.
me, you got your store for free in which city is it in Tennessee?
It's a Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga. Okay. And
hmm
how much free rent did you end up with?
We got 12-month abatement,
Okay.
and then we got 2 additional months.
Nice. And what have I missed? Where are we at? What have you been doing?
Well, right now the store has been open for 4 days,
Oh wow.
and
Holy
I got
moly.
yeah, it's been open for 4 days, and I got 5 people that want to do the contract employee, and I was about to set up the things, the interviews next week, but I said,
Okay.
let me get more information, so that's
Don't
why I reached out to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, as you know, and I'm so happy and excited that you're taking advantage of this because when you bring me on board, there is no limit to the time I'll put in. And I honestly want to thank you for reaching out. Some people make them, I mean, I've been doing this almost 20 years, and some people make the
hmm
mistake like, hey, I didn't want to bother you and all this. No, dude, if you have a question, no matter how small, just send a text. If you ask me what color is the sky, I'm going to text back blue. If you say, hey, I want to wrap my head around this contract attendant thing, we'll get on the phone like we're doing because it's really important. So
Yeah,
but I want to hear some of the nitty gritty. So, did you have a soft opening? You're not giving away cheeseburgers or anything yet.
this is a soft opening, and I'm
Okay.
glad because like the first day, right, when I got like 2 or 3 customers in, and the washers was filling up extremely slow, and then
Okay.
like 7 of them, because I got Dexter, was saying that slow fill, like something was wrong with the washers, the water wasn't filling up fast enough, and I was sweating. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, something's going on. And, and then I finally realized that night. I said, okay, let's check and see what's going on. And I didn't turn on the hot water.
Oh, that's all. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's what I'm saying. And because when the lady was sitting there, she was like, "Now I haven't been in a laundromat in a long time, but I thought I was supposed to have water." And I was like, "Yeah, we I said, yeah, we do."
Well, that's
I said,
funny
"This."
because I remember with my first store, it was already open when I made the mistake of buying it. And then, geez,
Mm,
when I'm into store 15, 17, 20, we would literally, we walked away from a store in Tempe, Arizona, and I flipped the sign to open, and we were all tired. The last thing we were doing was some tile work, and we left.
mm,
And my contract attendant
wow,
called and said, people are sliding around on the tile, like literally
wow,
the tile, uh, the grout
was
wasn't even
loose.
dry. Yeah. So
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
yeah, whatever. I'll come back tomorrow.
And that can happen though. Like until you're in this, you don't realize how fast things happen.
Yeah.
And you just forget things, like I had an alarm because like my dryer room door has an alarm on, like somebody's trying to break in, and it set off because some guy was, because you remember I told you with this store, instead of the bathroom, I did the wash and fold.
Right.
So he thinks it's the bathroom, so he's going to every door, alarms going off, and he just looks mad and frustrated. Well, he's a homeless guy. So
Yeah. You'll learn. I mean, there's a lot of liberal grade schoolers, and then you make a little money, and then all of a sudden you become a conservative, as they say, a fiscal conservative. So you'll figure out where you honestly need to be and what's what. But I guess I'm bringing. But look, I'm doing so many store openings now with so many of my clients that I've kind of been relaxed as far as even putting these types of video content out there, and certainly haven't done
mm,
testimonials in a very long time. But if you don't mind, I'll come crawl around the store, and maybe we'll have a grand opening and give away some hot dogs or something fun on the weekend, do a barbecue. On me, I'll take care of
Yeah,
all that.
we was going. I've got like so prior. I work with in this place that has like 25 inflatables. So I was gonna get like 3 inflatables, couple food trucks, and do like $2 wash.
That's awesome.
And that'll be probably a month from now though, because I gotta go out of town for a week with my job, and I don't want a large number of people to come, and I'm out of town.
Well, you had the nonprofit experience and still doing that. You'll see, dude. Everybody thinks they're going to quit their job, but the reality is the job.
I know.
The job becomes more like a hobby when you've got a few of these stores under your belt. All right, to the nitty gritty. What have you done in the vein so far of bringing in contract employees? And you realize, and again, I want to applaud you for doing it this way. It's not my way. It's what I consider the right way. And I've consulted with hundreds and hundreds of operators who already have laundries, and they come at me and they say, you know what, I'm not really cutting it. I'm just not making the money that I thought I would. I'm not earning as much as I think this store potentially can earn. And I just want to quickly, I'm not a P&L guy. I don't want to look at all their statements and drill down whether they should be, paying for a phone bill or not. But I will normally go straight to the point and say, do you have a wash dry fold or a drop off business? And don't forget, Luke and Lee Williford, who have 80 stores in the Carolinas, don't even mess with it. I think they know what they're doing. Wow. They literally have no pickup and delivery. That's another thing where you can potentially earn millions of dollars. I'm not discounting that, but that's a full-time career. So those of us that want to operate these stores, not hands off, but run them in the way that we do, I think it's fair to say you need to have a warm body in the store. But when I consult with those people, I would always drill down and say, okay, how much is the store making you in wash dry fold? Well, our gross is $12,000 a month. Oh, wow. That's a lot of money. Great. They're in Connecticut and they have a big store and a ton of drop-off business. Well, how much is it netting you? We're losing about $2,000 a month. So they're spending $14,000 on vans, gas, insurance, employees. And then my next question, how many shifts do you have? Well, we've got 7 people working 3 shifts. Okay. Just realize that everything in life is not about money. However, you're running your business wrong.
To make money.
That too. Thank you. But you're chasing those dimes and spending dollars to get there. So the simplest fix, and dude, I'm not a chalkboard guy. On a side note, I'll send you a text. I just put flamethrowers on my pickup truck, okay? And they work. And it's one button you press, and I'm so proud. It shoots a 30-foot flame. Priuses beware. But that's a whole nother thing. And I don't chalkboard this. I lie in bed at night thinking, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to eliminate problems and issues? It's the way my mind works, the design features. Okay, I don't want to have compressed air. I want to have a spark that's on demand. I don't want to have to get out and pour gasoline into a thing. Anyway, I figured it all out, and I'm very proud of that kind of thing. And my youngest, my 14-year-old daughter is just like me, where she's an inventor. When it came to this business, I knew that we had to have humans in the store, because the smallest example is someone won't put a $20 bill in a change machine in a quiet laundromat at noon. If there's a person sitting behind a Dutch door, they'll throw 20 in there thinking, hey, if this $20 bill gets chewed up, that person will handle it. And they're right. That's a small thing. The biggest thing is having someone there to clean up incessantly, having someone to open, close at first, because eventually you'll be 24 hours. That alleviates that issue. You know all of this from the course. You know all of this from what is to come as experience. But what I learned from those people is walk away from trying to attempt to make money in wash, dry, fold. Don't do it. But how do you have a human? Give the business away. And I'll talk in general terms, and you can stop me if you know this stuff. there are so many. Are you wondering how in the hell are you going to find somebody that's willing to do this? No, you say you have 5 people lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Most people wonder, how am I going to find someone that's going to work for free? Well, that's wrong
Mm-hmm.
thinking, because you are truly handing this person the keys to the kingdom. You're giving them a business. You're paying all the overhead, the phone bill, the light bill. You're giving them an office space. You're giving them space to work, and you're not charging them for that concession. You're not asking them for money. This is no secret. I'm happy to discuss everything that I laid out in my stores and that I implore you to do in your stores. I've taken dozens and dozens of those already laundromat operators already looking to earn more profit. And I've said, okay, the next question is, who's your best employee? Well, it's Nancy. Okay, sit everybody down on an apple crate and say you're fired. But Nancy gets another caveat. Good news, bad news. The good news is you're fired. The bad news is we're going to give you the business. And then open your books, show her that you're making 12 grand a month. She'll probably shit and then eat it and then shit it out again. But Nancy is likely going to walk. She's not going to stay, because Nancy's the type that probably likes that hourly job. She's great at it. She's good with customers. She loves to sweep. Maybe her son helps her with the job. But trying to find someone like that you can turn around and say, you know, I want to change everything that you're doing now and have been doing. It's very difficult for that person. So you're starting from scratch. Well, once they do find the right individual, let's go back. You're not offering someone no money. You're telling someone that they're going to be running a business for themselves. And I equate it to that, you know, that pizza shop, right? You go into a pizza shop at 12 o'clock noon on a Tuesday, and there's the same entities working that pizza shop. Great pizza, great pie, great atmosphere, but grandpa's in the back throwing the pie, and the kid who's 40, I call him a kid, he's running the register, and the grandson's pushing a broom. Those people probably don't live like kings, Jamal. They probably have a decent home, and if they don't own more than one pizzeria or have 7 brothers that do so, they probably don't do that well. And I'm just talking about money, not love and family and all those things that are important. But if they can never figure out how to get out of that business, they're going to continue to run the one store, and then the grandson's going to be the guy in the back throwing the pie in 100 years. Is it rented space? That's another scenario. Do they own the building? Maybe eventually they will. Again, there's a lot of layers to this onion. But those individuals are doing everything to make money that you're going to allow this contract attendant to do. The difference is you're not asking them to mortgage their house or second mortgage their house. You are asking them to put in their time, and plenty of it. I've been talking a lot, so you tell me, what questions specifically do you have for me, and let me answer them.
Now, do you still do the normal thing as far as like an application for,
No.
like, do they have to?
No. And I'll answer these individually. The great thing about a contract attendant is that they are not W-9. You're not paying them a dime. Be very careful. Thanksgiving, I would go around with 30 turkeys in my truck. So you're giving them a gift. If they ever asked you for gas for their truck or anything like that, buy them a gas card once, you know, if they need help with something like that. But be very, very cautious. Never exchange money for what you consider their time. On their birthday, a gift or a bottle of liquor, whatever you got to do, but you're not doing a normal app. Now, here's the thing. Day one, when you get your lease, before you even end up owning the place or getting keys physically to the place, put a sign on the outside. And I probably told you this and you did it. Help wanted. Nice printed sign. You know how much I hate handwritten signs. Beautiful printed sign, laminated, one by every entrance and egress point and one by the office. And those stay up. Be crystal clear once you get your contract attendant. Oh, we're not looking for anybody. You've got the position, but I want you to gather resumes. So instead of an application, these are people that are normally filling out apps for JOBs. So no, there's no application process, but you have to be prepped and ready when they call you. It's going to be your cell phone number. It's going to be a number you don't recognize, and you've got to answer. And then you have to have your auditory response prepped, right? Hi, I'm calling about the job. How many hours is it? But they're going to want to know the regular stuff, and you have to calm them down and say, I'm offering you an opportunity. Sometimes I'm in a great mood and I just want to take a lot of time with somebody. Sometimes I hear that they're very young over the phone and I'm not going to take too much time because young people won't do this. If someone shows up to work for you and she's got a baby on her hip and she's 23 years old, it's kind of like, this is a contract attendantship. I'm afraid there's no upfront money and it probably wouldn't work for us, and shake her hand. You're doing her a favor. The people that really work, an elderly couple that lives in the trailer park right behind the laundromat, perfect. I wish we could build those people out of sand, right? Someone who's got some other form of income, be it retirement or a pension. These are the best types of folks. Having help is going to be good, meaning you can't split the shifts. You probably are going to ask these questions. You can't have one contract attendant that does Sunday, Monday, and one does the rest of the week. You can't do that. Why? It will create infighting. One of those shifts will make more money than the other. They're going to be handing laundry over to people that they didn't do themselves and having complaints. It doesn't work. So when I say one entity, it could be a family. It could be a married couple. It could be, and I had several fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, family members. So if that semi-retired person has a kid that's kind of a bit of a schmuck at 30 years old that can help him or her, you've found it. Now, you can't find these people online. You can't put that in a Craigslist ad. But what you can do is have a hiring event. Put together a Craigslist ad. And here's the fun part. Ask them to be at the store at noon. People's tummies are grumbling. It's lunchtime. Don't you dare show up until 1. If they're unwilling to sit for an hour in the laundry waiting for you, they're never going to work as a contract attendant. So that's part of it. I can tell you a lot of stories. Dude, you're going to be churning through these people. It's the bane of your existence until you find the gold. I say 30 beautiful women don't want to marry Flava Flav. Maybe you didn't
Oh,
get
that flavor of love they do.
That's what I mean. That's a TV show.
Oh, okay, got you.
All those beautiful chicks, they want to win a TV show. They want a flat screen.
You're right.
No offense to Flava Flav, but people always interview well.
He knows why they was using them.
People interview well. So when you're dealing with these folks, they're going to show up and they're going to sis boom ba and they're going to cheerlead themselves and say they're great. Just understand that this is a legal contract attendant and you're giving them the keys to the kingdom. Don't forget it. Now, when they don't look the part or all that, I would still give them an opportunity. I would. Because again, you need warm bodies in the store. Understand these are not the types of people that you're going to have over to Thanksgiving. They're not the types of, let's be realistic as we can, all right? They're not drug addicts with their eyes spinning in their head. No, absolutely not. No drunks, no addicts, none of that. No nonsense. But the flip side is they're kind of fringe of society type people that have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, even though they can't spell the word. Does that make sense? One entity. I don't know if that answered your question or went even further. Where are you at?
I mean, yeah, it did.
Where are you at in the process now? You said you have 5 people. How did you find them? How do you know that they're interested?
When we was in the process of opening the business, everybody was just driving by because people are frustrated with the laundromat across the street. He just overcharged old equipment and he doesn't fix it. So they kept asking, like, when is this going to start? And tell me a little about it. And I was explaining to them the drop and fold and how I was looking for a contract employee. And I said, this is not like a normal employee. This is actually giving a person a part of my business. And the first lady, she used to do it at another laundromat.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, ooh, I want to do it. It's an old lady, too. The very old.
She used to do it paid under the table, let me guess?
I don't know the details of that.
That's okay.
I just know she said, the laundromat is,
It's okay to ask her.
Ask?
Yeah.
Okay, I ask her. Yeah.
And I want to interrupt too because I want to interrupt because I'll forget this. You said you're giving them part of your business. That's wrong verbiage. You're actually handing them their own business. Keep that in mind.
Handing their own business. Okay.
What I normally say on those phone calls, I've said it thousands of times. Hi, glad you're excited about this. I am literally giving you your own business. And then I would pause a lot. I'd say, are you still listening? Because sometimes you're like, well, my rent is $300 and okay, it's the wrong mentality. It's the wrong person. Don't waste your time. Sometimes you like
Mm,
up front with one store, you're going to be in the mood to really drill down everybody, but ask them some qualifying questions first. It's rude and intrusive to say, well, how much is your rent? Do you have a mortgage? How much is your car payment? None of your business. But understanding that little older folks that maybe, live in that trailer that's paid off, those are ideal folks. In fact, I even would put flyers in the local trailer parks and things of that nature. So it's not about
mm.
trailer living people. Oh, I see you're sending me pictures of it. Uh,
Yeah, I sent you all of them.
but you've got to be very, very realistic up front and tell them precisely what you're offering. Sometimes the word opportunity freaks people out. They hear the word and they think it's bullshit. And in many cases, the
Hmm.
word opportunity is bullshit. Not in our case. You need to sell a little bit of gold, and you need to also make them understand this isn't Jack and the Beanstalk. You need to say, look, a year from now, where will you be with a job? You'll be just over broke. What I'm
Hmm.
offering you is a storefront and the opportunity to crush it. And some of these folks are going to do
Hmm.
crazy stuff. They're going to want to give away coffee or hot dogs. And you're like, no, 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 no. I apologize, but I don't have a license for food, so you can't do that. You have to draw them back. Then I had
Hmm.
one that made their own costume that was a box that looked like a washer, and went out and at the dollar store got a machine that blew bubbles and stood on the corner until she brought people in. I was like, I love it. That's brilliant. I ended up making a better costume and using that with other contract attendants. And I would go in and say, go out on the corner, stand there and do this thing. And if they were too embarrassed or too proud to do it, they wouldn't work out. You're going to churn through people.
Yeah,
All right, I interrupted. You were
yeah.
saying, so you found this gal.
No, no, that's pretty much like every person who was driving by, that's how they found out about it because they was asking when is the laundromat going to open, and as I was sharing with them what we will have in the laundromat, that's when they will ask about the drop and fold.
Nice. Well, you're going to play it by ear. You have to set the store up bulletproof physically so that they have everything they need. By the way, something very small, you need to provide them everything they need to do the job to keep the store clean. Don't forget, the concession is they become the customer service agent of the store, your store, the coin
Hmm.
end,
Hmm.
and they also keep the store immaculately clean. And those are the words I would always use, immaculately clean.
Hmm.
That way you have every right. You're never going to feel poorly when you walk in there and the place is messy and they're back there folding
Hmm.
laundry. By the way, they won't be back there. They'll be in the customer space. Make aprons, make a few of them, have them very nicely embroidered. You can get them done on Amazon. May I take
Hmm.
your drop off laundry? Because then when they have that,
Gotcha.
they think that's for me. I like that. The name, the logo of the store, and then may I take your drop off laundry? Invite them
Hmm.
to grab customers' laundry and throw it on the scale and see how much it would cost. Notify them
Hmm.
that when a man walks in and he's wearing a two-piece suit, that he's probably recently divorced or he's staying in a local hotel motel for work and he looks all confused. Have him or her roll up and say, you look out of place. Let me grab your laundry. Let's see what it'll cost so you don't have to do it your damn self. Teach them that
Hmm.
because every machine that
Let
gets
me ask you
used
this.
is your machine. Go ahead.
Hmm. So like one of the ladies was talking about like as far as and I saw others do this where they actually like get contracts with like hospitals or different places
Love
to
it.
pick up their laundry and
That's
come
gold.
and do it.
You, in fact, will be the one to go out, and you can't expect the contract attendant, especially once they're locked, they're chained, they're shackled to that store. You're going to give them
Hmm.
truly TED Talks and seminars about how to go out. Have them tag along when you go to local hotel motels. People think those
Gotcha.
small hotel motels that all that stuff goes in the basement somewhere and gets washed, dried, and folded. No, it's us. How about that little tear off tag in the closet in a hotel motel? Look at the bottom of those things. You never think about it when you're staying there. Even national chains, it'll say John's Laundry at the bottom because that's where it's going in that
Wow.
in that trifold. Yeah, and those contracts have to be set up. Again, be smart about sales. Don't go in there at 4 p.m. and check-in time and elbow your way to the front of the line and say, "Where the hell's the general manager?" More
Hmm.
smartly, physically go, bring your attendant with you, and then at proper hours after afternoon or early in the morning, and if there's anyone there, sit in the lobby and wait, and then roll up and say, Hi, how are you? My name's Jamal.
Gotcha.
That person is the one you want to speak to. Don't act like they're discounted because they're working the register or they're at the front checkout. Don't ask for anyone else. Introduce yourself, tell them what you do. And then you say, in fact, why don't you drop your laundry with us for a few weeks absolutely free? I'll give you a month for free laundry. Let's see how you like the service. Why wouldn't they? Especially if it's a dude. Women are a little weird about giving their clothes out, and that's typically how it works either way. But you're setting them up every time. There's always a dollar store nearby. Setting them up with soap. Just buy the powdered soap, the cheap stuff, softener, and bleach. But you only do that once because they're going to utilize that. And also, on the other side, you give them all the materials they need to clean the store. You never give them bleach or window cleaner. All you need to clean a laundromat is white vinegar. So what I mean is you're going to give them a really nice mop. You're going to give them a floor drain and sink. You already have it. You're going to give them all the materials that they need. Make sure they're waist deep in mop heads. You keep those yourself, but give them one every month or so. And make sure that they have what they need. No paper towels. We don't use paper towels. You know, that's a waste of money and energy, just like we don't use Windex. But you're giving them everything they need to keep the store clean because you don't want them to bitch about that because, hey, I don't have any Windex. Okay, show them how vinegar and water works. You'll know, dude. You'll get in arguments with some people. And if you're arguing with your attendant, it's time. They're done. They got to go. So firing, we'll get to that. We'll have another call about it when it happens. But you never fire anyone. You sit down on an apple crate, you make eye contact, and you say, this isn't really working out, is it? And they do the rest every time.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got the gal, but I would have asked her, what did you do last time? How did it work? She was probably under the table. She was probably an hourly less than minimum wage. So that gal is gold, but you need to say, hey, this is a different scenario. You're going to go without eating for a couple of lunch hours here. You're going to be working for yourself. I'm handing you the business. That's what you're harping on because that's the truth of it. Advertising. You're advertising. Put together flyers. And the top of the flyer says, brand new laundromat. That gets attention. Then the top half of the flyer says, we do wash, dry, fold, and drop off, right? And then how big your machines are, your hours of operation, all that, have it open-ended, fold it in half. Literally tell him, her, they, them where you want these dropped at local apartment complexes, highlight them, come back in a week later and say, where have you delivered? And if they say they've dropped them at a certain complex, drive it. You won't even have to get out of your car to see if they did the flyers. I made them bright orange, bright green. And when you drive by, you'll see them on the doors of the empty apartments or you'll see them on the floor. Tell them to go early hours because they'll say, well, I can't put the flyers out. There's a maintenance guy there that chased me off or security said I couldn't do it. Don't ask permission. Are you a ballsy business owner? You are now. Go put these flyers out. You could do it yourself, but this is a symbiosis. You're paying for the flyers, so have them put them out.
That's right.
Next question.
Well, I think that's about it right now. I think I have more like after I get a chance to interact with them.
Yeah.
You answered a lot.
Don't forget, you're not their boss, but you're the boss. Don't ever forget that. The minute you let them get away with something, no matter what it is, I had a guy who had a paid employee when I was physically consulting back in the day, and I went to his store in San Francisco, and he told me at lunch how much he loved his attendant, how he paid her under the table, elderly woman, and she's gold, and she's this, and she's that. He let her have the keys to the coin boxes, and he said, I trust her implicitly. Yeah, I trust her implicitly. Keys to the kingdom. I said, bro, I wouldn't trust my grandma not to steal, okay? And she's dead. We had a nice laugh. We go into the store, and I'm doing my little, song and dance inspection about everything he was doing wrong. It's a longer story, but I'll never forget it. He told me how wonderful this woman was, that she wouldn't hurt a fly, and that she was lovely, and that he couldn't live without her, and he paid her illegally under the table. He provided her everything she needed to do wash, dry, fold. As we were sitting there talking, I noticed her face turn white as a ghost. And that's what made me realize, if you're shoplifting, don't look around for cameras. That's how they're going to know you're stealing. And this woman
Yep.
looked at me and him, and I was like, what's going on? There was a kid standing there with a bleach cup and $1.
Mm.
She was selling bleach for $1 a cup.
Oh my gosh.
His bleach.
$1 a cup.
His bleach.
Wow.
And the gallon of bleach probably cost him $7, and she's selling it for $1 a cup. So
wow.
I said, okay, I knew what was going on. He didn't really get it. And I said, no, go ahead. Sell the man his bleach. She poured like a half a cup of bleach in there and took the $1 from the kid. Oh, put it in your pocket. I'm a prick, right? The lady was stealing. Put the money in her pocket. Did he fire her the next day? I honestly don't know. There were so many things he needed to do differently. I just tell people what to do properly. I don't have the time or the inclination to come back. Again, I applaud you for doing this. We can talk about the everything. You can text me when you have questions. I'm really excited for you. I would love to get back in the saddle and start going after more locations. Tell me a funny story. I want to hear something fun about the whole process.
Well, that water story was funny. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but
you're like, oh my God, the machines take 28 minutes to fill.
This story almost backfired on me.
Okay.
So I have a cousin who's kind of very irate. He just kind of goes on a whim on a lot of stuff. He was so excited about my store. And he was like, oh, man, where's everybody doing their wash it now? I said, well, across the street, but they have broken machines. He said, that's okay. I'll go take care of it. I said, no. He goes into the store and say, hey, this laundromat sucks. The guy across the street is way better than this. And some older lady was behind him. And she said, okay, I'm going to take my clothes over there. Then he drives back. He's tattooed all up. Let me tell you that. He drives back and he calls me out the electrical room and say, hey, I did it. I said, did what? He said, I told everybody the laundromat sucked over there to come over here and some lady's about to come. And so the lady comes and she sees us in the parking lot. She thinks it's a setup. She drives off fast, scared and terrified. I was like, dude, I know.
I know.
I know.
A couple of brothers trying to roll an old lady.
That's what I'm saying. I said, dude.
You never know.
And I just said, don't help. I said,
don't help. I think he needs to be doing your radio commercials. Come on, that's awesome.
Yeah, it needs to be another space that he can feel. But no, that right there, it kind of hurt because I was like, that lady probably scared to go to any laundromat.
Not to bring it down a notch, but isn't that funny that she's over there across the street? We're such creatures of habit, and she didn't even notice your store. So yeah,
I know.
What you have to do is paper the neighborhood with flyers. I'm not a big proponent of spending money on advertising because it doesn't work. I spent $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on those stupid money mailers, but the money mailer they can tell you people's income and they can almost guarantee it's going to go to lower income families or even apartments, but they can't guarantee if those folks have connections and washer dryers in their slop room. They just don't know. There's no disconnect for that. So you have to kind of do it yourself. And without any dirty tricks or your cousin, what's his name?
I'm not gonna put his name out there.
without cousin Ron over there kicking anybody's ass. No dirty tricks are necessary. You just have to get that open sign and the light, and still people will just go drive across the street or down the block and they won't notice. But I've seen quite a bit. I've seen. And when that store closes across the street, and it will, you're going to be the one that's over there literally, hey, come across the street to Jamal's Laundry. Done. Easy stuff.
Gotcha.
What about the
contract? So like
when you did the equipment, did you have any funny moments when you were looking at pricing for equipment?
Oh, it's horrible. Like I'll be honest, that journey part, that was the hardest part because my distributor wanted me to get drain troughs, which was $4,000 extra, but the laundromat was already hard pipe. So we were just going to redo what was already there.
No.
So he kicks the pipes and breaks them so I can get the drain troughs.
What?
And he tried to deny it, but his subcontractor said, yeah, we watched him kick him. It was just headache after headache with going back and forth with that. Yeah.
Dude, I'm filing that away. I'm going to use that. I mean, that's some dirty shit. That's just not right.
It is.
That's not right.
It is.
so they could
My plumber started
you.
colluding with him on camera about getting those drain troughs, even though I already told him no, and I had to fire him. It was something.
Sorry to hear that. But that's the game we must play.
Yeah.
Everybody's scared shitless to go buy a new car because they're fearful of salespeople. But the truth is, all you need is one tidbit of information. If I told you the ACV on that new car, the actual cash value, if I told you what the dealership was in it for, you'd be gold. That's all you need. You need one tiny tidbit of info. And that's where people are fearful. Nobody in my family goes and buys a new car without bringing my ass along. And they're always astounded, like, are you going to call ahead? Are you going to do some internet research? No, I'm going to deal with human beings. I'm going to go in there and say, look, we know what we want. Let's do this in 45 minutes, including the little room in the back where we're going to do all the financing. I brought my aunt to do this recently. I said, $500 over invoice. It's the last day of the month. Let's get it done. All right, sure. Well, how do you know they're giving you the right price? Why wouldn't they? They're trying to make $5,000 off of every. That's the kid with the thin tie who's been on the job for 3 days. Oh, by the way, when you go to the dealership, you say, who's the guy in the back that's got the nice office with all the plaques that he's been the lead salesman for 30 years? Oh, that's Jimmy Redland. Yeah, that's the guy. Go in there and sit down. Hi, Jimmy. Never met, but let's do a deal. Because that guy will take $500 and $500 and he'll sell 38 cars a month happily. He's not trying to make $5,000 and make his mortgage. But I digress. I'm excited. I'm shot out of a cannon. I always love having these follow-ups and lots more to come. God bless, dude. I'm so happy, so proud of you. Let me know if there's anything I can do, if it's a simple text or, something that's a little deper. You probably figured out we're on the YouTube machine, so I don't know if anybody wants to say anything or ask.
I start realizing, after a while, it's like, yeah, he's teaching.
Yeah, that's it. So folks, there's a few folks on here. My YouTube's kind of exploded recently, and I appreciate everybody for doing that. Wade is saying, wow, he kicked the pipes trying to get the upsell. It's terrible. Tyler says, this is all great insight. I'm glad I have Danny as my lease negotiator mentor while I'm looking for my first location. Hi, Tyler. Hey, people that have their real names on YouTube, imagine that. Most of the time, I don't know who the hell they are. I deleted a message from a guy named Mike because he tried to say, I don't know what he said, but some bullshit. And that's kind of funny because now I have all these short videos, and it's basically to get these trolls to come out from under the bridge. We're working them, and they're clueless. I've got 2.5 million views on these 60-second videos. This guy doesn't know how to negotiate anything. And then every other comment calls me a douche. And when they transfer over to my lives, they make a little quick comment and then they leave because they're like, oh, this is like real information about people making millions of dollars. I don't want to watch this. Anyway.
Yeah. It's true though.
The guy's gone. Say something, Mike. No, he's gone. He don't want to watch this. Not to bring it to a negative, but again, I'm so proud of you, dude. I will have some drinks thinking about you. Anything you need, let me know. We want to start seeing the cash flow in, and I'm coming to Chattanooga. We'll come visit.
Appreciate it, Danny.
Appreciate you, man. Anything else you want to say?
All right. That's it, man. It was a journey, but hey, it's real. You will get a free laundromat working with Danny D'Angelo.
I did not say to endorse.
No, he did. He did not prompt me to say that.
It's work, and I'm a bear to work with, and I know that. When people are watching me beat down landlords, that's fun. And then recently I've started to kind of show a little bit of the poking fun at my clients, which is not something that I did or I felt comfortable with, but it kind of has to be out there. And at the end of the day, you're going to do that work. You're going to lose sleep over this. I'm in flux, even though you're watching videos of me, the preponderance of my videos are doing the landlord calls because it's easy to set up. It's easy to do. I make a call. What I really do on the daily is deal with folks that are in flux like you, sending out LOIs, doing follow-ups with that landlord might be a proctologist, God forbid, bottoms up, or he might be, a dentist or a doctor. And that individual can't really talk during the week. So Saturdays, we're making follow-ups on LOIs and redlining things. And then you get the lease and you sign the lease. again, I'm in flux with all of the students that are doing all of those things, and I'm trying a little bit more to show that side of it. And I want to thank, I didn't even tell you where we're going to go onto the YouTube machine, but I appreciate you so much. So excited and happy for you.
But that is true, though, that it's so much behind the scenes that they do not see, our conversations we had with my landlord. So that is true.
And I also don't, when I know there is a deal to be had, I'm pretty cautious with posting pretty much every step of that. Let's be honest. I've only had one landlord that kind of figured it out during the process. It didn't blow anything up, but he wasn't really thrilled. Let's put it that way. And that's a concern of some people. Like, well, I don't want to be on there. Most of the people that don't want to be live on YouTube are dogs. I think you know what I mean. They're dudes that have like four
and
ex-wives.
let me share this too, Danny, with your viewers, is that even with my landlord, they forget about Danny after the process is going. Like, he hasn't even really asked anything about Danny. It's like, how did this initially start? He hasn't brought your name up again.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because when they see the letter of intent, that's where I parachute out. Not for you, obviously, but when they see the LOI, they're like, okay, this is Jamal's name. Danny's name doesn't exist, even though I've been dealing. And sometimes, normally they figure it out pretty quick. They're like, oh, that guy's a mouthpiece. They love you for it because they see you as a guy who's not trying to run a business on his own or throw the dice. They see you as a guy that says, all right, this dude is smart enough that he's brought in an expert who really knows this business. And he has that background and all of that background and all of his other success stories that he brings to the table. So they get that. And yeah, rarely, but occasionally they do say, so who's Danny anyway? And I'm the one that'll say, oh, I'm a consultant. I'm here to help him. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm not. It's nonsense. I mean, I've put many multimillionaires into stores that are already doing very well in life, and they will stop and pause and ask me. It's not normal when you buy a hot dog to say, why are you only charging $2 for this? But people do ask me, why do you do this? Why do you do this for so little money? Well, because I want to stick it to the man. I'm disgusted hearing a story like that for the first time, that he's kicking your drain, he's breaking your drains. That's not I don't mind that these distributors want to eat steak, but it doesn't have to be every Friday on you. They should work with you in a way that you say, you know what? I want to have you put the equipment in this store and the next and the next and the next. But too many of them.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. He was trying to get me to sign the contract 2 months before they actually put everything in place.
Too many of them. And that's why I asked, funny distributor stories. And those that don't know, those that are new to the channel, distributors are necessary evils. You can't go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy 150 washing machines that happen to have industrial use capabilities and coin boxes. You can't. So it's been set up that way for so very long. All right, here we are still talking. I'm proud of you. Okay,
got you. All right.
I'm proud of you.
All right.
Talk to you.
All right.
Ciao.
All right, bye.
Couple new folks popped up with things and stuff. Would you sell the wash and fold business? I would not, Dewey. I wouldn't do that. I have a few clients who have sold the concession for $5,000. I know one guy charged for it, and it worked. He vetted the people, and the very fact that he sold it, I told him it was wrong. I said, I don't know why you're doing that. But the very fact that he did sell it and they had that vested interest in that capital output, they stayed with him forever. So maybe that's a way. I'm not saying it's wrong. Initially, not the way I ever did it, because I think that many times you find that there's a lot of knuckleheads that want to run a business but don't know how. It's a way, sure, but it's not really my methodology. Mostly unconscious. ChatGPT is about to type my LOI. Kidding. Well, you can use my LOI. It's also, I don't do paperwork. I'm not a book writer. I think print is dead. I have my course set up for that reason. The same way I'm very good at the gift of gab. When I built my course, it was me talking and bouncing off of others. It was never a script. But my LOI is here for any of you. But I'll give you this caveat, this warning. You don't find a laundromat that is falling apart. Draft the perfect letter of intent and send it to the landlord. Even if you know that landlord's email address, you're sure that is the landlord. You've got his physical address and he lives on some hill somewhere. Everything is mapped out. You know the laundromat's a total shithole. You know it needs a revamp, and you send an LOI. It'll be ignored. Is he going to open it up and read it and go, oh, well, let me get to this person and do that? No. A conversation needs to ensue prior to an LOI. A letter of intent is only bolstering what we have already said. And that's it. All this is in the course. I hate to repeat myself. Rick says, Danny, I'm buying the course in a few days. I'll send you an email when I do. Why a few days, Rick? Come on. Today is the day. Then he says, interested to know if I'm in Jacksonville, has a bunch of your students over there. It doesn't matter. That's such a hilarious comment. To all of the clients / students, it's always, oh, I'm in Jacksonville. Go out and look at laundromats. Go out and look at laundromats. When you see how many horrific, filthy, disgusting stores there are, you'll see there is no lack of perfect gems to be taken over. All right. Thanks for joining, kids. Subscribe if you haven't. I want to see them all pop up. Ciao.